This week in the kingdom, we're talking about elder abuse at church, PureFlix films, and why most of them are terrible, and disgruntled evangelicals. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 59 of the Faith and Whatever podcast. So this week we are launching a new, what do we call it? Not series, segment?
Series is good.
Series called This Week in the Kingdom, where we're discussing things that have to do with Christianity that are kind of happening all throughout. And so we'll be covering just a couple news stories that pertain particularly to the church. And so the first one comes from the Christian Standard, and it's an article written by Michael Crossley. And the idea that this is talking about is kind of this secret weapon or unrealized potential that exists within the majority of our churches. And so we always talk about the need for a strong and healthy children's ministry because for whatever reason, people want that. And so that's a big thing. So are you familiar with children's ministries? Do your kids go to any of them?
Yeah, I am familiar.
Are they good?
Some of them are.
What makes a good children's ministry?
A very youthful leader, somebody who's very healthy and has all of their eyesight and hearing.
Okay.
Fast enough to catch the kids when they run for it.
Okay. This is good. All right. So the thought put forth by the Christian Standard is this idea, what's known as grandparenting ministry. And this is, so they've kind of used grandparenting as kind of a catch-all term in the same way that one might use white to describe everybody.
Everybody?
Everybody who's white. It's a catch-all, right? You have different types of white. You have super white, not as white, whatever. So grandparenting ministry is this secret weapon, this article claims, on how to...
My secret weapon is grandparents.
It's like the church just caught on how we can abuse grandparents just a little more. Like, it's like they get used endlessly in the house. You know, let's use them endlessly at church, too.
And so, well...
Free babysitting.
There's a Barna study that has found that the top 5 influencers in the lives of young people, 1 and 2, are parents and grandparents, right? And so they've also pointed out that the average age of a grandparent is 47. There, so it's not like this really old and dusty individual, but rather, right?
Is Alabama?
Rather, somebody in their late 40s, early 50s
There's
tends
no
to be.
way I will be a grandparent by 47.
Yeah.
I have no kids now.
Yeah, well,
35.
You can always hope.
Maybe a time machine.
And so this idea is basically what they're saying, that is grandparenting ministry is a clarion call for grandparents to rise up and assume their God-ordained roles as heritage builders and faith preservers for the generation that follows them. This ministry is not just like another program to be added, but rather it's a movement to alter traditional views about grandparenting. What are the traditional views about grandparenting that need alteration?
I have this...
You sit around and spoil kids? They don't really do anything or something? I don't know.
I have this, like, image in my head that the way this story came about and all of this, like... research came about was just like the right church didn't have a youth minister right now, and they were just getting some of the older members to fill in.
That's absolutely correct.
Some journalists came to ask questions like, yeah, we're using them for an experimental idea. They're going to be our youth ministers, these grandparents of the church. And some just sly preacher just spun this whole thing.
This is actually fantastic.
What's that?
You wouldn't know.
So... Well, this guy says that this is based on scriptural mandates.
Oh, yeah.
There. So, in his excellent book, Biblical Grandparenting, Josh Mulvihill, I don't even know how you say that guy's name, hundreds of references to grandparents or grandparenting in the Bible. The central thrust of these scripture passages is that God designed grandparents to be key disciples, making influences in the lives of kids. Then he references Deuteronomy 4:9, Psalm 78, 4-7, which are too much to read here. I
like when they say there's just all these references throughout the Bible, and then like two
verses.
Like dark corners of the Bible are quoted.
Anytime it starts with Deuteronomy.
So be careful and watch closely so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen, or let them fade from your heart as long as you live. Teach them to your children and to the children.
You need good eyesight.
Yeah. So
Scripture says so.
What do we think? Is this a good thing or?
This is a brilliant thing. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
When I was younger, we went to Westside Christian Church, and Westside didn't have a lot of divisions. Like, there wasn't a separate seniors group.
Well, because you guys weren't talking to Eastside.
Yeah. That's where liars go.
There were every group had its own Bible study, but for the most part, the church was much more unified than a lot of, especially mega churches. where things divided up. And my friend and I decided to go with the seniors on their whale watching trip one time.
Okay.
We had the best time. They had a great time too.
We pushed so many people into the water.
And Josh and I, and we weren't real close with our grandparents growing up for a number of reasons. And
I can think of 3. Nice.
So a lot of the elder people at Westside ended up kind of becoming like grandparents to us, and it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. I got so much good advice and life lessons and
really
attention,
hard pocket candy.
Positive attention and encouragement, all the way up through high school and beyond.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a pragmatic decision.
Yeah.
I think it's a resource. I think older people at the church are looking for ways to help and be more engaged with the youth at the church, and I think it's a good pragmatic decision, as funny as it is. What's next?
So our other one today is we're taking a weird left turn here.
Okay.
Well, speaking of extremely old men, Trump to Liberty grads. Outsiders change the world. So this article is from ChristianityToday.com, and basically
outsiders from the world.
And
is he admitting that there are aliens controlling our fates? Oh dear God!
He's not going to build a wall. He's going to build a dome.
Giant space wall to keep out the space Mexicans. So President Donald Trump.
Are those people from Mars?
Can you be a space racist?
Spaces. Yeah, that's a thing. So Trump to Liberty grad. Yeah, outsiders change the world. So basically, 8 out of 10 evangelicals approve of Trump's presidential time so far in the first 100 or so days, however long we've been. So this is the 3rd time Trump has spoke, and this had a record-setting crowd of 50,000 people at Liberty's graduation. So listen to this. Let's listen to this quote real quick.
I'm guessing we're not going to get sponsored by Liberty University.
This is a beautiful speech.
Good. If there's
a great university.
If there's one university that I would wish would close down, it'd probably be Liberty. All right.
We'll go ahead. Bernie Sanders' wife run it.
Shaboom! Being an outsider is fine. Embrace the label because it's the outsiders who change the world and make a lasting difference.
Stay gold, pony boy.
Be totally unafraid. Be totally unafraid to challenge entrenched interests and failed power structures. Does that sound familiar? Wink, wink. In America,
said wink, right?
And it says it in the article.
Did you read it?
In America, we don't worship government; we worship God. We don't need a lecture from Washington on how to lead our lives. As long as I'm your president, no one's ever going to stop you from practicing your faith or from preaching what is in your heart.
Or from fracking, whatever.
Whichever one pays more.
Unless your faith, of course, is leading you to help people outside our borders.
Yeah. Or
no, you can go.
So, I'm a little bit disturbed by these things being so high. So the article quotes like 72% of people who have white evangelicals approve of Trump's presidency, and the number is even higher among evangelicals who go to church once a month.
So here's a question though: we're all evangelicals, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, I mean, I would.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody else judging me would judge me as that.
Yeah. So when did you get the survey?
Yeah, I am definitely not, and I am all things white evangelical.
I mean, that's the problem with all these surveys. They're almost always landline phones
or M-Turks.
Yeah, and they're always people who are willing to talk on the phone to a surveyor.
Yeah,
and that's usually a certain kind of person.
Yeah, usually an older certain kind of person who needs somebody to talk to as well. So, yeah, I know that's why polls and surveys are always so just not well done in America.
Yeah, so
not trustworthy.
I mean, what do you think that do you think this speaks to a larger issue at the helm
of
things?
He was voted in as president, so we can't deny the fact that he has supporters, right?
But he only got 1% more of the white vote than Romney.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, but still a lot of votes, right?
But I mean, just it's not exactly what a lot of people portray it as.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to say he was a resounding success in the polls or in the campaign, but I mean, he won, right? We can't deny him that. And yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time living through this.
But I mean, specifically about the white evangelical attachment to that. There is something that the vocalization of support became far greater among white evangelicals than we had seen even for Romney there. In fact, a lot of people were like super against Romney out of the white, but they just couldn't stand the idea of voting for Barack again one more time or whatever it was, or because he was black or whatever. I don't know. But the idea. So what is it that you think about Trump specifically that is so appealing to white evangelicals in a nation where
I think they felt, regardless of if they should have felt this they felt vulnerable.
Okay.
Right. Now, being a white evangelical in America, you're probably one of the least vulnerable people in the world, but they felt vulnerable. Yeah. And they felt sidelined by a very strong left narrative that had taken place over the Obama administration. And they saw in Trump a very loud voice for somebody who's willing to fight for them, even if it's in a nonsensical way. I think they didn't even care about how sensical he was, but the fact that he was willing to just take up their banner. And there's some debate over whether he's been actually all that effective so far as a president, even for his own agenda. He hasn't been. But at least he has done something that I always said Obama had a problem with, is that he speaks directly to the people very clearly and loudly. Like Obama, even when Obama did right, he didn't know how to communicate that he had done something right, right? And when he did wrong, it was especially quiet. But Trump speaks directly to his constituents. He
usually
speaks
through Twitter,
right? But still directly,
yeah.
Right? And he speaks very loudly and directly about what he's doing, even if he's not entirely doing that. But I think he's doing a great job controlling at least some side of the public conversation right now.
Yeah, setting up a counter narrative and being able to capitalize on perceived persecution is a very interesting way to ascertain power.
Right.
So anyway, that's kind of what's going on in the kingdom.
I got one more for you.
Oh, you do? Okay.
One more for you. So this comes from ChristianHeadlines.com. The title of the article is "Movie Experts Want to Do Away with the Term Faith-Based Films." Okay. So I wanted to read some of this.
Is this like the MXPX of movies?
Yeah.
So the term faith-based film, faith-based is an odd term to describe movies or anything else. For most Americans, faith is a normal part of our lives, so it's only normal that faith is weaved into movies as it's weaved into most of our lives. Of course, this is in reference to a lot of the Christian films. He also said that the term could discourage people from seeing the movie.
Also true.
The term scares away both the marginally religious and the irreligious.
Yes.
And it's a signal to them that the story is going to be preachy and overbearing. I think that's like an exact description of what those films are. Yeah, they're always preachy and overbearing. Like, do everybody a favor and please label them correctly.
Yeah.
You know you're going to try and sneak them in?
Yeah. Right. It's
like going to be madder.
We don't want to give away that this movie is going to be preachy and overbearing.
Yeah, I know. I think that's true. I mean, I won't ever go see any movie that's made by
Kirk Cameron.
Pureflix.
Yeah.
Typically Pureflix. The only one that I've ever seen by Pureflix that I enjoyed was just the Lee Strobel story, and just because it was just, whatever. But everything is super over the top there. Kevin Sorbo. Is that his name?
Oh, yeah.
God's
dead.
Morbo?
Not dead,
God is not dead.
What's Morbo, the alien from Futurama that tells the news? Anyway. But Kevin Sorbo is like a terrible example of this, right? Like this overly anticlimactic, unrespecting atheist professor. I don't know, in all the God's Undead films, or both of them, whatever it is. It's just terrible.
They take this opportunity to paint people whatever way they want, and they use the most extreme Christian perspective stereotypes of others, right? So it's like he can't just be a professor at a university. He's going to be a philosophy professor who hates God.
Well, like a gender studies professor isn't probably going to be as catching as a philosophy one.
Right. And so they, and it's just, I feel like they defeat their own point by not giving nuance to their characters and to the people that they're wishing to speak about and to.
I would have really enjoyed in that discussion for Kevin Sorbo's character to just do something like, say a really good point, and the kid to go, well, I'd really never thought of that before. That's really challenging.
It'd be great if the Christian kid could show some nuance in thinking and some ability to listen as well as speak.
And then his girlfriend leaves him there, and he ends up getting saved at the Newsboys concert. Anyway.
Really? Is that how that movie goes?
His girlfriend leaves him. I know that. And then it has something to do with the Newsboys concert at the end.
Oh, man, I can't imagine filmmakers using stereotypes.
It's legit the only movie I've ever turned off halfway through once I've started it. There, and you're talking to a guy who has seen like Sharknado. So it's like, if I'm willing to turn off God's Not Dead and keep on Sharknado,
make a Christian version of Sharknado.
Never mind.
God is not Sharknado.
Yeah. It's Passion of the Christ 2. Crucify this. I don't know. I just wish PureFlix would
now it's personal.
There's no female like blasphemy.
So, all right. Well, any other thoughts on that?
I think that's good. I think we nailed it.
No pun intended. All right. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you're checking us out on the podcast, thank you so much. If you'd leave us a review on iTunes, that would be super great. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you want to keep watching more excellent Faith in Whatever videos, you can look right here. If you want to subscribe to our page, you can click right here. And also, we have a link to our Patreon. We would love for you to go over to that site and be part of the excellent and awesome community that we're building there. Thanks so much for stopping by.